Welcome to the DX Today podcast, where you get facts and no hype. I'm Derek, and today we are looking at a landmark shift in the global workforce. We're dissecting the newly released Adecco Group 2026 Workforce Trends Report, titled Return to Ambition, but Security and Support for Agility Rules. It is a massive study, Chloe. 37,500 workers, 2,000 C-suite executives across 31 countries.
It's the definitive roadmap for where we are right now, Derek. And honestly, the findings are a bit of a reality check. For years, we've been talking about purpose-driven work and the Great Resignation, but the 2026 data shows a hard pivot. The era of high-frequency job hopping is officially over. People want an anchor.
Exactly. Tangible security. We're seeing stable income and job certainty emerge as the absolute non-negotiable foundations for the modern employee. But there's a massive tension here. While workers are hunkering down for stability, the technical landscape is moving faster than ever. We're calling it the stagility era. Stability plus agility.
I love that term, stagility. But before we dive into the technicalities of the 2026 landscape, we really need to look at how we got here. To understand the stability pivot, you have to look back at the last 5 years. It's been a wild ride.
It has. Let's walk through the timeline. Back in 2021 and 2022, we had the Great Resignation. Turnover was at an all-time high. Workers were searching for work-life balance and personal fulfillment above all else. They felt they had the upper hand.
Right, and then 2023 and 2024 brought what Adecco calls the AI awakening. That's when generative AI really hit the mainstream. But alongside that excitement, we started seeing stability anxiety because the global economy began to cool. People started realizing that maybe jumping ship every 6 months wasn't the safest bet.
Then came 2025, the humanity era. Research from Deloitte and the World Economic Forum focused on how humans and machines could coexist. But the 2025 OECD Skills Outlook pointed out a major flaw: skills inequality. Even though we wanted to work with AI, the structural barriers were already starting to show.
Which brings us to today, January 2026. The Great Resignation isn't just slowing down, it's dead. The report declares it over. But Derek, the reason people are staying in their jobs isn't necessarily because they're happy.
That's a crucial distinction, Chloe. For the first time in recent history, stable pay and job security have overtaken company culture and personal development as the top 2 reasons to stay with an employee. Workers are staying longer, but the report warns of something Gartner calls regrettable retention.
Regrettable retention? That sounds ominous. Let's break that down.
It is. It's when less productive employees stay with a company solely for security, not because they're engaged or contributing at a high level. They're re-anchoring because they're afraid of the market. And while they're staying put, they're feeling a massive disconnect with how their companies are handling technology.
And that leads us directly into the AI knowledge paradox, which is probably the most shocking part of this report. Derek, 71% of workers, nearly 3/4 of the global workforce, believe their own AI knowledge exceeds the training programs provided by their employers.
Read that again, Chloe. 71%. That is a staggering failure of corporate upskilling.
It's a huge gap. These workers are essentially shadow AI users. They're teaching themselves how to use these tools at home or on the fly, but when they get to the office, the official training is either non-existent or completely outdated.
And the C-suite is disconnected. The Adecco report shows that while executives identify AI as their top priority for 2026, only 33%, just 1/3, have actually invested in the data necessary to understand what skills their workforce even has.
Wait, so they're prioritizing AI, but they don't even know what their people can do?
Precisely. They're flying blind. They are shouting about digital transformation from the rooftops while the actual workers are sitting at their desks, using AI tools the bosses don't even know exist, and feeling like the company's official path is 3 steps behind.
It's a recipe for frustration, and this feeds into the internal mobility gap. The report says 61% of organizations are failing to successfully transition their own workers into new internal roles.
This is where the buy over build mentality comes back to haunt them. Companies are still trying to buy talent from the external market rather than building it from within. But the external market is tapped out. Manpower Group's 2026 survey shows that 77% of employees in energy and IT are facing persistent talent shortages. You can't buy what isn't there.
So if you can't hire from outside and you're failing to move people around inside, you're basically paralyzed.
You're stagnant, and the workers see this. When a company refuses to reskill a loyal employee and instead tries and fails to hire a unicorn from the outside, that employee's sense of job security plummets. It's a paradox. The employee wants stability, the company wants agility, but neither side is building the bridge to make it happen.
Let's talk about the sectors for a second, because the report had a really interesting note on blue-collar versus white-collar workers. Usually we hear that white-collar workers have it better, but the 2026 data says otherwise.
It's a fascinating shift. Blue-collar workers are actually reporting higher confidence in fair pay and job stability than white-collar workers. We've seen this trend rising since 2024. The demand for skilled manual labor and specialized trades is so high that these workers have more leverage and more tangible security than a middle manager in a tech firm right now.
That is a total reversal of the narrative from 5 years ago. Now, let's bring in some of the other data mentioned in the report to flush this out. The World Economic Forum's Future of Jobs 2025 report predicted that 39% of core worker skills will change by 2030. We're almost there.
And we have to look at the McKinsey 2026 report as well. They found that 87% of global companies are facing imminent skill shortages, but they added a twist. They say emotional intelligence, or EI, is now the most sought-after human superpower.
Superpower. I like that. Because as AI handles more of the technical data crunching tasks, the humanity part of the job, empathy, negotiation, complex communication, becomes the premium skill.
Exactly. Deloitte calls this super agency. It's where AI acts as a partner in value creation, but the human is the one directing that value. But here's the problem, Chloe. The OECD Skills Outlook 2025 found that socioeconomic backgrounds still account for a 10% wage gap, regardless of technical skill level. So even in this high-tech 2026 world, the old-school barriers haven't gone away.
So we have this landscape of stagility, people wanting to stay put but needing to move fast, organizations failing to map skills, a massive AI training deficit, and a looming skill shortage that external hiring can't fix. Derek, what is the 2026 leader supposed to do with this?
The Adecco report lays out 4 critical pillars for survival. The first is prioritizing that stagility we talked about. Leaders have to create stability through transparent pay and very clear career pathways. You can't ask people to be agile and take risks if they're worried about their mortgage.
Right, security is the floor. You can't build a house without it. What's the second pillar?
Closing the AI training loop. Companies need to stop offering training as an optional extra and start formalizing the skills their shadow AI users already have. Integrate AI into daily workflows. Stop treating it like a seminar and start treating it like a hammer, a tool that everyone uses every day.
And the third pillar, the internal skills mapping. This one sounds technical but essential.
It's about moving beyond job titles. A marketing manager title doesn't tell me if that person is an expert in data analytics or prompt engineering. Organizations need a skills-first architecture. LinkedIn data actually suggests that a skills-based approach can increase your talent pipeline by up to 6 times. 6 times, Chloe. Imagine if those 61% of companies struggling with internal transitions actually knew what their people could do.
They wouldn't have to look outside nearly as much. They'd find the talent was already sitting in the building.
Precisely. And the final pillar is tailored flexibility. We need to move past the remote versus office debate. It's tired. 2026 is about giving workers control over how and when they work, not just where. It's about autonomy.
It sounds like the 2026 pivot is really a call for a more sophisticated relationship between employer and employee. It's not just I pay you, you work. It's I provide you with a stable platform and the tools to evolve, and you provide the agility to keep us competitive.
It's a mutual pact, but the data shows that right now, that pact is frayed. Workers are holding up their end by staying, but they're feeling unsupported in the face of AI. Employers are holding up the paychecks, but they're failing to build the internal infrastructure to grow their own talent.
It's a fascinating moment in labor history. We've moved from the Great Resignation to a great reevaluation of what stability actually looks like in a world that won't stop changing.
Well put. The 2026 Adecco report is a wake-up call. Security isn't just a steady paycheck anymore. It's the confidence that your skills won't be obsolete by next Christmas. And if companies don't start bridging that gap, regrettable retention is going to become their biggest productivity killer.
Definitely a lot to think about. Derek, thanks for breaking down the technical side of this.
Always. For those of you listening, if you want to dive deeper into the metrics, check out the Adecco Group's Workforce Trends 2026 report and the WEF Future of Jobs 2025 study. The data is all there.
And that's our time for today. We'll be back next week to look at how super agency is changing the IT sector specifically.
This has been the DX Today podcast. No hype, just the facts. We'll see you in the next one.